Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about debunking the whole Ghostface killers are the most ruthless and most different we've ever seen in the franchise. I have heard too many people say this and it gets on my nerves and everything. Like, and it's a little disappointing when you see who the killer reveal is and you think, oh, you're so ruthless. Now, I can understand why people think that, this killer is ruthless and does things that nobody else has done before. But people need to put on their Scream thinking caps. And if you stop and you think real hard and go back to the earlier movies, you'll realize something. This Ghostface did pretty much the same thing other Ghostface have done. Only problem is most people have forgotten it because it was a blink and you miss it kind of thing, or it's been edited out the original movie, so people kind of forgot, you know what I'm saying? Or people who've never seen the actual original movie have forgotten it because on DVD and streaming and all that, they took certain scenes out. And also you have to remember, we get to see a couple of stabbing and slashings here and there in the older movies, but we didn't get to see it until the person actually died. Mostly we'll see the person stab a couple of times, slash a couple of times. It will pan to like another part of the movie. Then they'll go back and the person's dead, bloodied up and stuff like that. So you gotta put your thinking caps on. So let's debunk a couple of these because I get so tired of people thinking that these killers are so ruthless and everything. And they act so differently, like we've never seen them before. That's just the marketing, man. That's what the creators want you to think. They planted the seeds in your mind, so as you're watching it, you assume that and everything. Oh, before I start, let me correct myself on the past video. I said that I think Jason, the original killer from Scream 6, was using the voice changer from Scream 3. Turns out that was his real voice he was using on the phone. I just didn't know it at the time until I watched it the second time and his voice matched up, which is really sloppy. He would use his actual real voice. What if she would have survived and recognized his voice? Also, how come she didn't recognize his voice? Because he's her student, you know? Also, the part where I said, how do people not know the guy was related to like the police officer? Because like, I forgot that Quinn said her dad transferred there when she started going to school there. So that's probably why nobody knew who her brother was. But Gail should have known when she looked into Richie's background. She should have known who his father and siblings were. And also, why did he move the shrine to New York? All that evidence, and he just so happens to move it to New York the moment they go to like college there. I mean, Okay, so the whole ghost face is, he could care less about being out in broad daylight and like, chasing after somebody or killing somebody and stuff. One, we've seen that in Scream 5. With the whole Judy getting killed. She got killed in the broad daylight. Ghostface was outside terrorizing her house and she got killed in broad daylight. But let's go back all the way to the first movie. In the first movie, in case you've forgotten, the killer was actually in the high school, hiding away in the girls' bathroom in broad daylight. And two girls were in there talking. The killer didn't go after them because he had no reason to go after them. And he didn't actually start attacking until Sydney was there all alone. And then he revealed himself and chased after her for a little bit and then ran off. Still in broad daylight and still while school was going on. So anybody could saw him come out. Then let's not forget, you have the principal and everything. And the principal got killed in broad daylight just when school was over with and stuff. And so it was like late in the evening, and the only other person there was that Freddy Krueger looking janitor played by Craven and stuff. And still it's in the broad daylight. And let's go a step further. Remember when school was out And Stu and the girls were out and about, and he told them go get snacks, and he went to go meet Randy. Billy was roaming around in broad daylight in the Scream costume, hiding behind like certain like buildings and trees and stuff like that. He was stalking Sydney in broad daylight. So this completely debunks the also Scream 2 when Mrs. Loomis was out in broad daylight on a college campus that's crowded, and she was hiding away in like the van. Then after the killings were done, she took the costume off and ran off. Somebody could have saw her run off, but they didn't. And let's not forget, I'll get into that a little bit later. So the whole broad daylight thing and and people around, that has totally been debunked. People have to remember the older movies. Now, another thing is people talking about, oh, this Ghostface, was trying to kill them in the bodega and it stabbed Mindy in on the subway and there was people around. Well, let's go back to that Scream 2. The opening to the movie theater. You have two Ghostface killers in the movie theater and they're stabbing the crap out of two people. One was in the restroom, where not that many people was around, but the one with Jada Pinkett Smith was around with everybody in there, and people saw it, but they didn't think, oh, this person is getting killed because they're all dressed as Ghostface, running around with fake knives and everything, and there was so much confusion that people just didn't think about it until she went up on stage and then gave out that terrifying scream. But yet, it was a bunch of people were around and everything. And those Ghostface was copycats and they could have cared less who saw them and stuff. And last but not least, when people talking about the brutality of this killer and everything, is the way this killer just stabs people over and over and over and over again. Well, and also throwing people off the ladder. Well, okay, let's go to Scream 2 when he threw Sarah Michelle Gellar off the balcony. And it was more climactic, but her eye didn't pop out like the other girl. So, but that's not the killer popping the eye out. That's just the garbage cans. But still, we had somebody thrown off a high like building. Now, the stabbing. I know it's been a while and you probably forgot because it's been edited out. But remember the football player in the opening of the first kill? That Ghostface ripped that dude's stomach wide open. His intestines literally fell out very slowly. It was a gross and nasty scene and it was brutal. And it's been edited out. Then let's not forget the little stabathon thing towards the end of the movie when Stu and Billy reveal themselves to Sydney and they're just stabbing each other over and over, gashing each other and slashing. And that has been edited out the DVD. But that was pretty brutal because they was doing it over and over again. And they did not care. They were just having a good time being psychotic. Also, let's go back to the beginning opening and stuff. Drew Barrymore's character was being stabbed like slowly from the back. Okay, fine. But remember, it pans away from that, goes to the parents, and we don't get to see everything else that's happening. She's getting stabbed multiple times and she got gutted. That was really brutal. We haven't had a gutting since Scream 4. And not only that, but she was hung for her parents to see. If that's not brutal, hey, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? Then let's not forget Mrs. Loomis. Now, when she kept stabbing Randy over and over, it was so slow and it was so weird. But remember, it panned away. She was struggling with him, but she was literally stabbing him over and over off screen for all that blood to be shown when she ran out the car. In Scream 3, he blew up a house and a guy along with it. Come on now, we ain't had nothing like that since. Shot a man's wee-wee off. Come on now. If that ain't brutal, I don't know what. I'm still feeling the pain of that. In Scream 4, he stabbed a cop through the head. Like, come on now. And how can you forget Tatum's death? I mean, it was a garage door. And she got squished. Head got squished. And body was just hanging there. And we haven't had anything close to that yet. The only close thing we ever had was Scream 4, when that person kept, like, trying to go through, like, the garage door, and the door, like, kept slamming on that. But that's about it. But the brutality of it all is that first movie with, like, her head getting squished between the door and the garage, like, opener type thing. And let's not forget one of the coolest, and I mean coolest, killings, one of the most bloodiest and stuff. And it was the most bloodiest until Scream 6. The dude in the tub, we never even got to see. But we did get to see that blonde girl in Scream 4, somewhere after the beginning of the movie, when she's across the house from Jill. And remember that girl tried to run away and got stabbed in the hand and got stabbed over and over and swung around and ran up against the, like, window, and body smashed through the window and everything. And when Sydney went into her room, there was blood everywhere. And that's a killing we actually got to see. And that was really brutal and one of the most bloodiest we've ever seen. And we haven't seen anything that bloody since Sydney's mother died, and we never even got to see that, but we got to see the pretend makeshift of it for the movie and stuff. And that was very brutal. But then people's all like, oh no, what about the guy in the tub? Well, one, we never got to see it. We know it happened, but we didn't get to see it. And yes, that was very bloody and everything. Now, I will give them credit. The decapitation in the refrigerator, that was brutal, and we've never had anything like that. So I'll give them credit for that originality, but that's about it. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.